What's up YouTube? This is Galactic God, and I'm coming at you finally with my Yu-Gi-Oh! Q&A video. Now I know there's going to be some of you out there who are going, what happened? You made a video like a month ago asking us for questions. And basically I did actually record a video, a Q&A video, but the audio was really messed up and I couldn't get it to work, so I have to re-record this video now. So hopefully, with any luck, there won't be no issues this time out, and this Q&A will be coming at you pretty soon. Also, some of the questions require a little bit of a longer answer, so I may be splitting some of those answers off into their own videos. So keep an eye out for those as well. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first video question from Screencasters.
Hey Galactic God, it's me, Yegorim from Screencasters. I'm asking you a question like that. But yeah, I am very curious since you've been around YouTube for a very, very long time. You know more about this than anybody else. What's your favorite YouTube channels that are under 10K? Because a lot of people who talk about the YouTubers, the ones that are favorites are the ones that people already know about. So what about you? You've been around the block quite a few times, so I'm very curious on what underrated channels that you actually like watching and what you look for in a YouTube channel to be like successful or something like that, you know? So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Love you, man.
So there's actually a ton of really great Yu-Gi-Oh! Channels that are under the 10K mark. I can't possibly name all of them, but here's just a few of the ones that I really like. Devonator1212, P Bunny, RH Nisker, Rescue Cat Duelist, Cyrus 13, We Are Yu-Gi-Oh! The RJB0 when he was making content on a much more consistent basis. Unfortunately, he's just not doing Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos anymore, but he was definitely going to be huge. Anyways, those are just a few of the really great channels that are under the 10K mark. Alright, on to the next video question.
Hey Galactic God, Kyle Ken Z here. I'm a toy reviewer and TCG collector. I just wanted to know, like, how do I get my videos out there? They don't seem to get the exposure that, you know, other people get, and I know consistency is a big thing and stuff like that, but, you know, even when I seem to be consistent, they don't get the exposure that I feel like they deserve, because I don't feel like I have bad videos. And yeah, I just wanted to know that. And I also want to know, what are you recording with these days? Are you still using the Canon T3i? And what are you editing on? Sony Vegas Pro? I believe that's what you were editing on before. So yeah, I just wanted to know. I'm just using simple stuff like Windows Movie Maker, so I just want to know if I needed, you know, Sony Vegas Pro to edit on. So yeah, thanks for answering my question if you do, and take care.
So yeah, I'm pretty much still using the same camera. I would like to upgrade, but, you know, things cost money. Also, I'm mostly using Sony Vegas to edit with, although sometimes I do use other programs, but Sony Vegas is really the main one. As for getting more exposure for your channel, the best thing really to do is to try and network with other channels. They don't have to necessarily be bigger, but just getting more exposure out there to other places, people that don't normally see you, will definitely help spread the word. Also, using really good tags in your video, maybe coming up with catchy titles for them, really good thumbnails, stuff that'll help you stand out when people are searching up topics. Really goes a long way to helping you get noticed within the community. Alright, let's move on to the next video question.
Hello there, Galactic God. This is a response video to your Ask Me Questions video. I would like to ask you, what's your favorite booster set?
So my favorite booster set is probably one of the more classic ones, and that's Invasion of Chaos. It's a set that really kind of turned Yu-Gi-Oh! Up on its head by releasing so many epic cards in one set. Alright, so let's move on to the actual Q&A. And the first question comes from Olinthio, who asks, what card or cards was I most looking forward to in Shining Victories? Of course, what answer could it be other than Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon? It's a card that I've been looking forward to getting for my Synchron deck for quite a long time. And as I know that you love the Synchron archetype as well, I'm sure it's one that you love to include in your version of your build. Anyways, that's the card that I was most looking forward to in Shining Victories. The next question comes from Lee San, who asks, where did you get the name Galactic God from? So a long time ago, I used to belong to this comic book forum called Galactic Comics, and I was the admin for that, and I came up with the name Galactic God because I watched over the whole forum board. This was a very long time ago, when forums were a little bit more popular than they are now. Anyways, when I eventually made my YouTube account, years and years before I ever decided to start posting videos, I just used the same name, Galactic God. And when I decided to actually post my first Yu-Gi-Oh video, I didn't come up with like a Yu-Gi-Oh name or anything like that. I just already had a YouTube account so that I was using to just watch videos on, and I just used that to post my first video because I never really got into YouTube thinking I'm gonna become a Yu-Gi-Tuber or I'm gonna make a ton of videos. I was just really posting a case opening, and that was all I was ever gonna post. And so I just used whatever my account was at the time, and it was Galactic God, and the name has just kind of stuck with me over all these years. The next question comes from Mad Wasp, who asks, would you consider yourself a rarity whore? Now, once upon a time, I would have definitely considered myself a rarity whore. For those of you guys who don't know what that is, it's basically when you want to get the most blinged out version of a card possible. You don't want to use common or super rare or ultra. If it's available in secret or ultimate or whatever, that's the version that you have to have. And you don't get unlimited copies. You get the first edition one. Whatever is the most expensive, hardest version of the card to get, that's what you want to get. And at one point, when I was very much more competitive than I am now, I was definitely a rarity whore. Had to have the highest possible version of the card. But not any longer. Now, I am definitely much more of a filthy casual, just playing the game for fun. And thus, I don't really care so much about the rarity of the cards anymore. Mostly. Next question. Have you ever regretted hosting another Yu-Gi-Tuber's content? So no one's ever like held a gun to my head and told me you have to post that. Sometimes when people send me, ideas for guest uploads or something, I'll tell them, oh, I don't think this is right for my channel, or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, whenever I post anybody's video up on my channel, it's good to go. Not always do they get a really good reaction when they post a guest upload. Sometimes people are extremely critical, especially, in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. I know it's hard to believe, but they are. And sometimes, the guest uploads don't go, quite as well as planned. But either way, exposure is exposure, and usually it always helps their channel, no matter what. For the next question, what was it like at your first locals, and did you make any friends? Please respond. So my first locals was actually, an extremely long time ago, and I just remember being really nervous going into it. I don't really understand why. I mean, we're all there just, to have fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! But for some reason, whenever you do anything for the first time, I guess, you get, butterflies in your stomach and you're nervous about going into the new environment. But, once I got there, I settled in, started having fun with everyone. I went with some friends anyway, so it wasn't like I was completely alone. And I just remember it being a really fun experience. I just wish there was a way for me to go to locals more often now. It's just, with the way that my schedule is, it's just really hard for me to make it to any kind of one. But hopefully, someday soon, I'll be able to get that locals experience once again. Next up, Panda for Life asks, what do you do for a job? So right now I'm actually working a couple jobs, but one of them is one working hopefully towards my career as I'm getting ready to go back to school to get my master's. Anyways, I'm hoping to become a school teacher. So right now I'm doing substitute work during the daytime, during the week. So if you guys live in Southern California and you're in, K through 12 and your teacher doesn't show up one day, you might walk into your classroom and see me there. Kevin11 Duelist asks, what was your wife's reaction when she learned you played Yu-Gi-Oh! Before you were married? So when she first found out, I don't remember her having any kind of weird reaction or anything like that. She was like, oh, okay, whatever, type of thing. And eventually she actually got into Yu-Gi-Oh! But when I've talked to her about, looking back on it, she said that she thought it was a pretty nerdy thing. But, she still loves me anyways. And, it worked out for us in the end. Yu-Gi-Oh! B asks, when did you know you want to be a Yu-Gi-Tuber? So like I said earlier, the first video I ever posted, it wasn't about, I'm looking to do this to become a Yu-Gi-Tuber. I just wanted to post the case opening that I was doing, and that was really going to be it. But, after getting the reaction that I got once I posted those first few videos about the case opening, it kind of made me want to, make another video. And then I did another one and another one. I started doing ones about, deck profiles on decks that I really like to do, and then duels, and eventually discussion videos, more product opening, all that kind of stuff. And at some point, I don't know, I can't really pinpoint it where it was, but sometime during that process, I decided, I'm gonna give this a shot. I really enjoy doing this. So the next question asks, do you play a lot with your girlfriend together, or is that a rare opportunity? So at one point my wife, or then girlfriend, got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Mostly because, it was all around her all the time. And she wanted to learn about my hobby and, experience it with me. And she got, pretty decent at the game, very noobish, but, she really liked playing it for a while. But eventually, she kind of fell out of Yu-Gi-Oh! She doesn't play it anymore. She stopped playing it, before the days of pendulums and all that kind of stuff. That didn't really drive her out of it. She kind of lost interest with it over time. So she doesn't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore, so, we don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Together anymore. We have other stuff that we do for fun together. So the next question asks, does Yu-Gi-Tubing make good money on YouTube? And you'd be surprised just how often I get asked this, or just how much money, people think Yu-Gi-Tubers make. And I will say, good money is kind of a relative term. I would not consider it good money. I would say usually I make about what you would working like some kind of part-time job somewhere each month. So you can take that for what you will. So if you consider that kind of good money, then yes, it's good money with YouTube. But it's not anything that, I can quit my job over or retire over or anything like that. It's just a little bit of extra cash. Alright, so have you ever gotten into a different card game other than Yu-Gi-Oh? So at one point I did try the WoW card game when it first came out because I had a lot of friends that were giving it a shot, and I ended up going down to Frankincense and building like this Weenie Rush kind of deck with a lot of draw power. It was kind of fun, especially because all my friends were into it at the time. But eventually, very fast actually, I kind of fell out of favor with the game and just got back into playing more Yu-Gi-Oh! Recently though, I've been playing Hearthstone, mostly on my phone, on my breaks or on my lunch at work, because, it's a free app and, it's a card game that I can play, when I'm out and about. So Lethal Lemon Laser asks, when can we expect the next duel video? I love it when you do those. So as I've said kind of in the past, a lot of my friends that I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! With a lot in real life just, fell out of the game. They either don't play it no more, they don't keep up with it, or whatever the case may be. They're not into Yu-Gi-Oh! So it's really hard for me to get people over here to actually record the duel videos with. I still have a couple friends that are super into it. One of them, only can come by on the weekends, but I work every weekend at my other job, and it just kind of makes things difficult to get, our filming schedules to kind of intermix, if you will. Also, I'm not able to go to locals right now, so I can't go there and record videos or find other people that I can duel with. Hopefully that will all change, over the next couple months, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I do have, kind of an old school duel type video series that I'm hoping to get produced and put up on my channel pretty soon. I guess we'll have to wait and see how that goes though. So Joe asks, who are some of your favorite non-Yu-Gi-Tuber channels that you like watching? Mostly what I watch when I'm not watching any kind of Yu-Gi-Oh! Content is usually kind of like movie review channels. I watch, Collider and all their shows, Jeremy Johns, Blind Wave I like watching a lot. It's usually those kind of contents that I watch. So Glenn Jacob asks, hey Galactic God, have you seen any Arc V, the anime? And if not, why? So I have watched maybe the first, 10 to 15 episodes of Arc V. I wasn't really getting too into it. I've heard it gets really good the more that the series goes on, but at this time I just, the first 10 or 15 episodes, I wasn't quite feeling. I don't like the little virtual world that they have the duels in where they just run around and grab cards and then use them right away. It just doesn't seem like Yu-Gi-Oh! To me. I'm sure maybe, the series as it goes farther along gets a lot better and all that changes. I don't know. But, at those first half a season that I saw or whatever, just, I wasn't feeling it. So that's all I've seen so far. So VCTRFS asks, if you could ask one question to Konami about the current state of the game, what would it be? So I guess the one question that's on most people's minds is about the ban list. We all heard the reasonings, why they changed it to where you don't know when the ban list is coming out next. But really, I think we all appreciate when we know when, the format is going to shift, when it's time to maybe pick up cards or get rid of cards, and this not knowing thing is not working out. And so I guess the real question would be what do you think about, the reception to the change to the ban list has gotten, and would you consider changing it back? So Yu-Gi-Oh! MN asks, do you think there is any way to get more subs, or is it just wait and they will come? So really, I don't think there's any kind of, magic formula to, you know, gaining subs or becoming more well-known within the community or anything like that. Really, you just need to produce good content. Good content, you know, will spread like wildfire. You know, as soon as somebody sees something, they're going to want to show it to someone else, and then they're going to want to show it to someone else. And eventually, that's the best way to kind of gain subscribers, is word of mouth. And just, you know, the best way to do that is just to keep producing really good videos, so that when someone goes and, you know, sees one of your videos and they go and check out your channel, and they see some of the previous videos, and they're like, oh, this video is really good too, and this one, I got to subscribe to this person. And then they do so. And it's not a fast process. Usually, you know, it takes time. I mean, I didn't gain all my subscribers overnight either. As you guys know, I've been doing this for quite a few years. And so, you know, you just gotta be patient with it, persistent, and consistent with your content and the quality of it. So King Pouncer asks, who is your favorite YouTuber besides yourself, and why? So my favorite YouTuber of all is probably Yu-Gi-Oh! For Real Man. There's just something about his content. It was just so epic, really. All the combos that he was able to accomplish, all the different plays from, you know, various different kinds of decks that he put together. It just, every time his video popped up in my feed, you know, I knew I was in for a real treat. It was just something that I looked forward to seeing, and I'm just saddened that he's kind of moved on away from Yu-Gi-Tubing. Alright, this next section of the video is going to be rapid fire, so I'm going to answer a bunch of questions as quickly as I can. So Riki asks, Obelisk, Slifer, or Raw? Slifer, of course. Austin asks, are you excited about the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie and the movie packs? It's always great to get new Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, especially with Yu-Gi-Oh! Kaiba. Filthy Papa asks, would you be a wrestler or a UFC fighter? What? Of course I would want to work in WWE. 5Mart2In asks, who is your favorite synchro monster and why? Quasar, because he's a boss. Black Karam asks, what's your favorite Pokemon? You gotta go with the classic, Pikachu. Silver asks, what is your all-time favorite card? I gotta go with Injection Fairy Lily, because it was the first holographic card out of the first pack that I ever pulled. Silver Star Stream asks, is this a question? Yeah, it's a question. The Blade Charge asks, has your wife ever complained about you having too many cards? Only like every day. Yugi Nono asks, why did you abandon me as a baby? Because the Yugi gods came to me and they told me of the prophecy of the one who will bring darkness to the game. And unfortunately, it is you. So Red Eyes Photon Dragon asks, how did you create the opening for your channel? So the current intro that I have that I'm using is one that I definitely really enjoy. I know a lot of people kind of asked if I was going to change that anytime soon, and I have no plans on doing that at the current moment. I really still like the intro that I have. I may update the outro eventually, but I do like both of them a lot, so that's why I've kept them around as long as I have. The current intro that I'm using was created with a program called Cinema 4D. That's how you kind of get that more 3D effect as you kind of fly through the logo kind of flies through the cards, I should say. So Yoshi asks, do you have any advice for starting Yu-Gi-Tubers? So really the best advice that I could give is the one that I usually do, which is don't get into it just looking to, you know, make money or become popular within the game or anything like that. Just get into it because you love Yu-Gi-Oh! That you enjoy making content and make videos that you yourself would enjoy watching them if they weren't yours. And also learn how to use editing software, Photoshop, and all those things. It'll really help you out as time goes on. Finally, Vlog asks, when will you grow up and leave Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Yu-Gi-Tubing? I don't think it's really so much about growing up as it is growing apart from the game. And that kind of happens once it stops becoming fun. So as long as Yu-Gi-Oh! Remains something that I enjoy, I'm going to keep playing the game and keep producing videos up here on YouTube about it. And I guess that's going to about do it for my Yu-Gi-Oh! Q&A. Big thanks to everyone out there who submitted questions for me to answer. I tried to get to as many of them as I could. If I didn't get to yours, I am extremely sorry. Also, if there's something that I didn't answer that you would really like to know, leave it as a question down in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer it there. And I guess that's going to do it for now. This is GalacticGod, out.